Personally, the interesting, like I just love the perspective of it. The taking a genre like the slasher films, which I love, but I mean the last kind of ones that have done it, and well, I mean there's been a handful that have done something new and brought in some great twists and stuff like that. But I just love the reinvention of this with the way that Chris Nash handled it, and it's not necessarily first person POV, but it's like it's as if you're tethered to the killer and you're going on a day trip with him and you get to see everything that he does from step one to step
Yeah.
to that's a great
It's really
aspect.
it was so cool reading the script as well because I feel like it reads so differently because it is um tethered to Rye's perspective. And honestly, the way that some of the kills were described on the page, I was like, if they pull this off, this is gonna be so cool and so sick. And yeah, very different and unique. I think that's what I was so interested in exploring as well. There's so much under the horror umbrella. But this one felt very different. And I was excited to explore that with and seeing where that would bring us.
Yeah.
To prepare, it was just watching a lot of old slasher films and anything specific. But we tried to. But Chris Nash specifically didn't want to do any one kind of specific, you know,
Yeah.
wanted to give nods to everything. And Friday the 13th is obviously a big one just because it's an easy jumping in point for the audience. So like, yeah, I try to take inspiration from all the greats who did that, like Kane Hodder and Nick Castle as the Shape and like all of those classics that kind of have little elements you can kind of sprinkle into it. And it was just a matter of finding the physicality and giving myself some rules to stay consistent and to stick with. And then it was a kind of a scene for scene thing just to see what speed Johnny would move at or what his motivations were to kind of like fuel either going into kind of killer Johnny mode or to be walking peacefully through the woods.
So Chris Nash, our director, was very open to collaboration, and when talking to him about the script, he was like, honestly, I don't even care that much about what's on the page. Like, just bring yourself to it. Let's just go in and do it and see what happens. And I was like, amazing. Like, that's just music to your ears as an actor or as a creator, right? Um, I think it was really I was so excited to bring more to her because you don't really get to see her up close. It's very different with the way that we played with the camera in this film. How do you still make an audience care about this character that you really haven't seen that much of? How do you still, get them to get them to empathize with her and what she's going through and the terror of everything that's happening? And I think that's like I was really excited for that challenge.
I think probably
Um,
the hardest scene probably would have been I actually injured myself in the middle of between in between shooting blocks of for the film, and we had to go back and pick up certain scenes in different locations, and then come back. And we actually the some scenes like there's big gaps in between in time. But I injured myself, and I came back. I dislocated my knee the week before, and we were shooting the lake scene where Johnny walks down into the water and disappears under the water and comes up on
Yeah.
the other side. So I was actually on crutches at that time, but I had knee braces. I had my braces on, and then I had to wear a diving belt to help me sink. And then also I had to we had to pin the mask down so it wouldn't float the second Johnny walks into the water. And then I had to like reach up and grab it to hold on. It was just all these little things that kind of day was really hot. It was probably one of the hottest days that we shot. So the water part was nice, but then everything else around it.
uh, I think the hardest scene, I think for myself, was in the car when I'm speaking with Lauren Marie Taylor, who's an
I
actress that
know.
was in
That's
Friday the 13th franchise. But I think the only reason why I say it was hard, it's because being in that mental state of just so much trauma and terror that just happened to this girl and like sitting in it and just being exhausted. It was just very exhausting and it felt
yeah.
um hard because of that to carry that. But even that was fun. Like the whole shoot was so fun, which I know is funny to say because it was a horror. But I don't know. It's been my favorite, like one of my favorites to film. Kill scenes. I don't know. Okay, I know which one you're gonna say, and I think I know which one
Yeah.
you like. I don't know if anybody's mentioned this one yet. I really love the first one,
Oh yeah.
the
Oh,
one against the
Where he,
tree.
oh, is it the first? Oh, I, yeah.
it's hard to choose because they each one kind of has their like something special about them. Like each one
Yeah.
kind of is like an homage to another horror scene or something, but each one kind of has their own specific thing that
No,
really
it's
kind of
really,
works.
yeah.
He was so clear, I think, about the story that he wanted to tell and what he wanted to make. And he's so funny because he's also just, I think, the chillest person as well. Kind of very like go with the flow. Okay, yeah, like let's do this thing. Sure. I don't know. Like I don't know what I'm doing. And I love that. He would say that all the time, but I loved that because then it gave us permission to be like, okay, neither do we. Let's just try to make this and see what happens. And it was very I yeah, he's incredible. He's truly one of a kind.
Yeah, he has a very dry, self-deprecating sense of humor, which comes in great. It's very handy when you're having a harder day, or maybe an effect isn't going exactly the way that he wanted it to in the first place, but then finds out a way to make it work even better. He's a very hands-on, tactile director, and also like very intelligent too. On top of that, so like he's very good at fixing any kind of problems that pop up, or collaborating with anybody who's there in the moment, and giving anything they can to kind of help out in any kind of way. So it's great working with somebody like that, and somebody who's so focused and knows exactly what they're making. Like he's got all the pieces lined out, and you kind of have to just be your part of the puzzle, and it all fits together. Which for something like this, it's a bit of a magic trick because it sounds like a simple idea, but if it's in the wrong hands, it wouldn't work. And it's
That's true.
What were we joking about, Rye? We were like Kris and Johnny together forever. Like
yeah.
something.
Johnny
No, but
Johnny goes to the city.
yeah.
That'd be a cool
Johnny's
one.
trip to the Big Apple.
Yeah.
No, but I think it'd be really I, I don't know, it could be really cool to see kind of the lasting impact of what that kind of a situation would leave on somebody, like witnessing these rampant kills of this monster and experiencing this monster. What does that do long term to somebody? Do people believe that that could ever happen or not? Like I think that could be really cool from even a psychological perspective to explore.
Hmm. It's hard too with this one because it feels a bit similar to the ending of the original Halloween, where it's kind of just leaves the threat and the evil is still out there, and that's what's creepy, is that you don't know where he is. He could show up at any time, and he's still out there. And in the same way that the original Halloween was never supposed to have sequels, though it has some great ones, and there's a bunch of them.
Right.
So you just never know how, if a film is accepted, it might end up having sequels anyway, whether it was intentional or not. I mean, like maybe and I think Nash actually mentioned at some point, like a prequel, or like showing what happened,
Oh yeah.
but who knows? Like it would have to be a good idea to make it, to make it worthwhile, sort of thing. But I don't know. Who knows?
Right.